Hello and welcome everybody to the Buy Rounds Midweek Matters with Cheese and with Charlie White. Gents, how are we all?
Good, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm going okay. Cheese, how are you going?
I'm going very good, Jimmy. Thank you.
It's been interesting. Some things brought to my attention. No illness this week?
No illness this week?
No.
Why did you say that?
Well, obviously, I don't like to say, I use the word influence. It's a bit
Influenza A.
distasteful. That's where I'm going, Cheese. That,
So it's a loaded question. I could hear that it was a loaded question. I felt.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you felt it because it was brought to Charlie and I's attention that you were on another podcast, which we fully support, but, using our take on influenza A and passing it off as your own.
That's what the good people do, man. You know what? I said that before and I said I'm going to say something about my flu.
For context.
So the thing is, it worked out exactly how I wanted to. Somehow you listened to it and I managed to get through to you.
Yeah, it did. For context, you're
I
on
said
backstage.
before, I won't say the influenza A, I'll say the flu.
Yeah,
you're on the backstage
with Matty Johns, Coop Johns. Great podcast. It was a good listen. You should listen to it if you want to hear some cracking stories from Cheese and Cooper.
Yeah.
But you claim that you don't say influenza.
Oh, not influenza A.
No,
none of this nonsense.
I've purposely done it, so it's not like a.
You even said I hate people who use that.
Yes, that's right.
I've purposely done it. So thank you for the.
Well, can you tell us the truth? Who are you, Cheese? Are you
I'm an influenza?
Are you an influenza A person, or I'm just sick?
The thing is, I'm gonna say influenza A to promote the severity of the flu. If it was a 2-day thing, like I had a cough and the thing, I'm gonna say flu. But if it's a 7-day absolute flogging on the body, it's influenza.
Any man who misses
see what
a
I do?
week,
I'm a chameleon. I like just adapt to situations.
Yeah. Social chameleon, yeah. Or just play the game.
Well, I'm glad you listened to it though.
Good chat. It was actually a really good chat.
No,
it's a good podcast. They're good interviewers.
Mate, I got the call up late. My payment was a towel, and it wasn't even like given to me. It was Trish John's towel. I just took it because it was a nice towel. We went for a swim after it. I was like, mate. It was like a Peter Alexander, had like all the little sausage dogs all over it. It was that comfy.
Oh, so it wasn't like a backstage towel they gave you. You stole just Trish's towel.
I went for a swim. I actually stole Jack Johns' shorts as well. They were nice too. Mate, so no, they did a podcast with someone, no names, and then their coach rang up and said, mate, I don't want this going out for a couple of weeks. And then they rang me up and said, can you just quickly drive to Manly? Mate, and I hated it because I drove back and it took me an hour and 36 minutes because some truck got pulled over right on like outside DY and it was just bumper to bumper. So
Reece Walsh did a podcast with, I won't say which podcast it was, and it was his first ever podcast. And then the Broncos said that, well, actually not the Broncos, Reece Walsh management have made them not release the chat. Apparently it was a really good chat. Reece Walsh cried talking about his family. But then his management came in and said, no, we only do that stuff for money. You can't release it.
Well, if he did it, you could just...
But they bowed down and they didn't release it.
Yeah, I guess out of respect. It's funny, some of the, I guess, the misconceptions around podcasting, and there are some people and some organisations in sport that are dead against it. But it's safer than a live interview. Like, if you're that paranoid, obviously, we understand, we interview people and they get very relaxed, very comfortable. You can often forget that you're actually being recorded. But we give all our guests full editorial control, and like with Reece Walsh. But some people get, oh, no, I can't do podcasts because something might get taken out of context.
Yeah.
It's the safest environment to record a conversation in.
And unless you're being interviewed by an arsehole, if you say something you don't want to have in there, they'll cut it out for you.
We'll think about it. We lose all our credibility if we stitch Cheese up.
Yeah.
Or anybody.
Of course, yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's disappointing. It'd be great.
I've had some bad experience.
We have, mate. Well, mate, I'll say this because, when you did that interview with Ice, for example, when you were leaving the thing, him releasing that chat did the wrong thing by you, in my opinion. Like, you would cut out that stuff. You cut, if someone says some of that, if you're actually genuinely care about...
I guess it wasn't the greatest. I wasn't in the greatest state when I did that podcast.
Well, exactly, mate. Exactly. Like, if if you actually care about the people you're interviewing, you cut out stuff like that. Like we cut out stuff in the bar and all the time. Like it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah,
he's
like
an editorial nightmare, Brandon.
Yeah.
Like I get the group chat, it's like, oh, we're gonna have to cut this. Can you come back and re-record that question? Like, Jesus, an editorial nightmare, but we look after him. So.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Eh?
Yeah. I was thinking about cutting out you talking about influenza, eh? Because there are two types of people in this world, Cheese. Lion tamers and lion bastards, and you are a lion bastard, my friend.
Well, I just liked how you promoted it, and I just used it.
I know. Anyway, like if you're out there,
I'm spreading your word. What do you mean?
No, spreading you're not. I'm
spreading your word.
What are you talking about?
Your gospel.
Like, your gospel was.
Oh, right, about people that muck around and say,
Yeah,
all right, okay, yeah.
Maybe I thought, Jimmy, when I walked out the door, actually, I am a dickhead. I should have said.
I'm glad I made you feel that way. But you could have given me credit. Like,
you do it for the accolades, do you?
Yeah.
You could have plugged the podcast as well. You could have been like, I'm on a really big podcast now. I'll talk about my podcast, get it some listens. No mention.
Yeah, no mention. No credit for us enlightening you.
Yeah, I think I said it, but they edited it out. Like, Cheese thinks he can come on and promote his own fucking podcast.
In serious news, though, boys, I know you'll care about this. The NRL is now very much in the process of buying a third of the Super League. It is pending, though, the fact that they have full administrative control by 2028.
I'd say get a full administrative control like the day you sign anything. Don't worry about the percentage, which is 33%. I don't care about that because the game over there is struggling. It is numbers haven't remained the same in all those metrics. You know, when we hear Peter Verlanders talk about the growth of the game here in Australia, well, those numbers back in England are actually dwindling. You look at even crowd numbers of the game's biggest events, like the grand final, like the Challenge Cup final, they are coming down. Like the TV, like the salary cap really hasn't moved. Like that needle hasn't moved much. So look, I think it's great that the NRL are looking to capitalize on this opportunity because it does indirectly benefit the NRL through the international game, which they now are a part of, and also some player pathways. And I guess for me, the Super League, they've brought in other investors previously, but it doesn't seem to have worked. So what do? Do you just look at the NRL and go, we're going to replicate what they do? Well, no, it's not it's not a copy and paste. They need radical change, and they probably need some people that have experience in the game of rugby league, but with no emotional attachment to the current situation in the Super League. Now, complex problem solving is not about pleasing everybody. They're going to have to make some really tough decisions, probably that would look at some different competition structure. But if we don't act on the Super League like yesterday or the day before yesterday, it's going to dwindle into we're not going to have a competition. Like I speak to people in there now and even talk about like the staff numbers are going down, like the support team around the Super League players are dwindling. They don't have, like, I remember coming here to play at the Bulldogs and it was like there's almost more staff than players, which was great. We got looked after, went back to St. Helens with Wolfie and like the staff was so small and it's been peeled back even more. And Salford, like, what are they doing having a say at the table? They have a say. They've been on the bones of their arse for the last since I've been a supporter of the game. What are Salford doing having a say in how that competition's run? They're broke. They always have been. They had a couple of good years, but it's based off that's more coaching and some of the players, but administratively, it's a nightmare.
And the NRL said they're not buying it because of financial reasons. And if Super League gets back to, a financial viable position, they'll sell the share back.
Yeah, well, look, that's great to hear. And obviously that puts them in the box seat in terms of, their purchasing power. I guess like they're not coming at it from a purely business angle or perspective, which other investment firms or venture capitalists would approach buying a sporting competition or a sporting club would. It's about return on investment. It's all about the financial dollar. But this is something more. And I think the NRL recognised that, and the Super League probably recognise it as well. And this is going to upset a lot of people. I know that for a fact. But if we don't act and we don't get the help that, and I'm talking about the Super League, the competition that I was a fan of since I was at the age of 7, 8, and that I got to play with my team that I supported since that age. If we don't get that help and we get some radical change, it's going to die.
What's the sort of approach that the NRL can do to make that radical change?
Well, there's arguably not enough talent pool, and there's too many teams within that are too close together in terms of their proximity. And so
do you think there'll be like a cull of teams?
Possibly, yes. And look, I get that this is going to upset people, and you know how I feel about being a fan. You've seen that, like me talk about that so many times. But when it's great when things are going good and we have these big rivalries, but unless you've got room to grow, like there are parts of England that have teams and they've been like a club like Featherstone, for example. Oh, we won the Challenge Cup. We've won it so many times, and we've won the Division 1 championship, and we can't let go of this history. We'll get more than 4,000 fans to a game in Division 1. Well, where are you going to grow? And I've got friends who are at that club, and they're not in the Super League, but they're going to have to make some really tough decisions around what the competition is actually going to look like and who meets the criteria. They have this bullshit licensing criteria that is obviously failed because Salford are the prime example. And it's going to require some sacrifice from everybody, from clubs, from players, from fans, in order to keep the game alive.
Well, these are the clubs that are expected to be safe, because there are talks of either an 8 or a 10-team version. They're the two proposed setups that have been put forward. St Helens, Warrington, Wigan, Leeds Rhinos, Hull KR and Hull FC would all be part of the revamp. And then 2 clubs from France would be Catalans and Toulouse, and a team in Toulouse. And then there'd be 2 other spots for English clubs if we went for 10 teams.
Look, and again, if you were starting a competition tomorrow, you wouldn't have a St Helens, a Wigan and a Warrington.
Too close to each other?
Based off geographical proximity. You just wouldn't. And those 3 teams hate each other. And I hate them. Love St Helens, hate the other 2. And that's fine. That's what we're about. But it might come down to, in order to keep the game alive, I don't think it is going to need to be that drastic, but these are some of the conversations that need to be had. Like, how can we actually resurrect this and get it off life support machine? Because, we all act sometimes with emotion, and I think with the NRL coming in, there will, a Hull FC and a Hull KR. Like, that would...
Don't you want those rivalries, though?
Well, yes, you do, Charlie. You do. You do want those rivalries. But is that the top of the... What's absolutely essential here in terms of making the Super League a strong competition? Like, there are essentials and non-essentials. What's in that category of essentials, of like actually making a strong competition? Is it about pleasing everybody? Absolutely not. Like, it's very difficult to know what the right answer is.
Yeah, because that's interesting, because like, how do AFL do it? And I don't want to bring AFL up, but AFL, they have like 5 teams within a kilometre of each other.
But they're in a huge city of Melbourne, which has a population of how many million is in Melbourne?
A lot. There's a lot of people in Melbourne. But then those areas are highly populated in England, aren't they?
They're highly populated, but the game of rugby league is a minority sport in England.
It's a religion, AFL.
But then if you didn't have St Helens, Warrington and Wigan,
Yeah,
Like,
those are three.
Yeah,
need
all
them
right,
all.
okay.
That's
You
not
need
the
those
answer. I don't
rivalries.
think Jimmy's saying that's the answer,
No,
but it's
it's something that's going to have to be seriously considered because otherwise you're going to
But
die.
you don't want to spread it out too far as well and have like one team in that region. All right, now let's have a team in Manchester. Let's have a team in... you don't need that.
Okay, you know what? I've gone on an extreme tangent there around like potential mergers, and they happened here in Australia, and people have never gotten over it. But the game's thriving here. It's not there.
So do you think an 8 or a 10-team comp, though, is a better setup?
Well, maybe again, I don't know. I can't see the books. I can't see team like this is again. I'm speaking as a passionate person from the pure angle of saving the game over there and having it thrive. But there would be experts in the field that need to open the books, look at it, look at those numbers, those metrics, and go, okay, this is what we're going to do. Now, in terms of, like, this isn't, hey, Salford, what do you think? Hey, St. Helens, what do you think? Hey, Hull, can we speak to you? Hey, Castleford, can we speak to you? No, get out. We're running the ship here.
Yeah, well, if Valandis is running the ship over there, that's sort of how he operates, isn't it?
But they've got to get that as part of this deal. They can't afford to be going, will you give us control? We'll get a 33% stake. Well, it's like, unfortunately, and like we talk about democracy being eroded in society, this is where they need a dictator in there to say, you either back me or you don't. And that's what the NRL need to do, because desperate times call for desperate measures.
Well, what's the view if you're an English player or an English administration over there? What's your view on Aussies coming over? Like, I know you're pretty territorial. You bomby bastards.
Aussies coming over.
Yeah, but
to play in the
like,
Super League.
I mean, like they're giving control. Like, is it a competition between Super League and NRL? Like, are they going to see that as sort of disrespect? Like, where you think we're like a, charity case? Like, you know what I mean?
Because, from my understanding, which is very limited in what's going on in this, I was a player and I just wanted to play for my club. In terms of like running of the game, wasn't really too invested in that. I trusted the people, but unfortunately, it's my understanding and my observation that it's been governed by self-interest. It's governed by people who only act within. It's like, well, we'll keep ourselves like alive, and it's basically really rich fans that are chairmen and chairwomen of football clubs that are keeping them afloat, that are putting money in from their own pockets. Like, is that sustainable? I don't think it is.
No. Have you spoken to Jared much since he's gone over there?
No, not really. Just funny memes every now and then. No.
But he's killing it over there.
Yeah, and you know what? The product itself,
it's no different. The product. I would argue that some Super League games I've watched are more exciting because the ruck speed's a bit faster, and it allows for the littler blokes like the Jai Fields and obviously the Bevan Frenches. They've got way more time and space to work with the ball. Like, I've watched some such good games by the Super League. Like, the product's good. It's still good. So, and to me, it's good because I'm a rugby league fan. So
if the product's good, cheese, forget what the sport is.
It's who's selling it.
Exactly.
There we go.
But it's on Sky Sports over there.
It's on Sky Sports, but they
don't televise all the games, eh?
So what games do you televise?
They do now. They do.
Yeah,
I think they do now. From memory, I think all games are televised, but it's on Sky Sports. But that, like, Sky, just because it's on Sky Sports doesn't mean it's bringing in television money, media broadcast rights, sponsorship dollar. So and the sporting stage in England as well, to give them some credit, has been, from when I was it has changed from when I was a kid, from when I was playing over there, in terms of this influx, and it's happening here as well. The influx of American sports, the rising popularity in female sports, that all demands space and attention on the sporting stage. So rugby league, which was already a minority sport, has had time and attention eroded away from the growing popularity of female sports and this introduction of American sports, plus the growing popularity of footy over there, or soccer, like in terms of like the access to championship, Scottish football, European football. Like now you can watch any sporting contest at the click of a button. If you've got the financial resources to afford that, you can stream anything. Any competition is a global competition. You can watch it anywhere. NRL on demand. Like if you're an NRL fan and you move overseas to Timbuktu or Oman or Morocco or London, you can watch NRL. And in England, unfortunately, the attention that Super League gets is just nowhere.
A good thing they could do is loan players the NRL as well, like younger players coming through. If the NRL needs, if Super League needs more bodies over there, they can loan players.
I get that, Charlie, but fundamentally, like Cheese said, the product itself speaks to people that enjoy rugby league. So, where's the issue?
It'll be interesting to see if it happens. In terms of like the shifting of clubs and franchises in the NRL, there's a bit of news as well because the WA government and Volandis are going head to head at the moment. Roger Cook is clashing with Volandis. It looks as though WA might not get the Perth Bears after all.
For 2027 as well.
They put in a $55 million offer, which included a Centre of Excellence and funding for grassroots rugby league, and Volandis has knocked that back.
I've got a feeling this one will be sorted out.
Politics, I'm not too fond. Do you think the WA team?
I think it would be good for WA. It'd be great for our game.
It's a tough one because it's a long flight to WA. The Perth games are, and if you got a team that's having to play in Sydney every 2 weeks,
it'd be the same for the Warriors, and it's not an international flight.
It's way longer flight.
It's from Perth.
Yeah, way longer.
Yeah, but you don't have to go through secure customs.
Yeah, but you got to sit in a chair for 2 more hours.
Yeah, but how long do you have to be at the airport for, mate? You want to see Charlie White when we fly domestic? Like Captain Cruise. Just walk in. Hey, I'm here.
Mate,
if a flight's at 10, right, depart at 10, and we're flying with one of the airlines, Charlie, and I'm talking gets his Uber to drop him off at the airport at 9:45.
Because
mate, I'm not on your side here. I'm the exact same.
Do you know what it is?
My missus hates it. Sometimes I'll tell her to go before me.
Get your own way there.
No, you can always be late for a plane because they will always put you to the front of the line. Yes, it's a bit entitled, but if you are late, they just send you to the front straight away.
Well, you know what, Charlie? We all can't have that attitude, because if we all had that attitude, every plane would be late.
Well,
no, they wouldn't, because I get there on time.
Mate, do you know what they do?
The gate closes.
Do you know what I know? Like, even if a plane, have you noticed, like, a plane leaves half an hour early, you still get there on time?
Yeah.
They must just add a bit of extra juice.
When does a plane ever leave early?
No, you meant late. You meant late.
No,
yeah.
If it leaves half an hour late, sorry.
You get there on time.
Mate, you get there the same. Mate, if the plane leaves early, you get there on time.
Do you know why that is? Is because the airlines want to advertise. The airlines want to advertise the fact that like 100% on time. So you get thrown the incorrect flight time. They always overestimate. So then you're always technically, quote unquote, on time. So if I depart a flight from Sydney to Melbourne at 10 a.m. and it's a expected arrival time at 11:30, the airlines are BS. It doesn't take 90 minutes. It takes an hour.
Yeah.
So that's an over allocation.
But then when you leave on time, you land at the same time you're meant to land on. It's like if planes have the ability to speed, why aren't they always speeding? Like, let's get there quicker. Same like you get the ferry. If the ferry can drive faster, drive faster. Like, why are we slowing down?
Maybe there's speed limits in the sky. And also air traffic control. You turn up early and they've got, mate, what are you doing? You're just going to circle around. What would you rather do? Go nice and cruise? Or would you just get told to circle up, flying in circles around your destination?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We can't blame traffic, can you? Surely.
Yeah.
Anyway, on Perth being into the competition, geez, they could rock up 15 minutes before their flight, just like Charlie White does. The Warriors, they can't. They've got to be there a good 2 hours before.
Mate, I'm telling you, you got to be there an hour. Anyway, I've got to be there an hour and a half before the flight for Sydney.
Oh, is that with the clubs? Is that the club
like
rule?
the clubs. I'm just saying, it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to be annoyed to have to fly to Perth 2 years. Well, twice a year if I'm playing them twice a year.
Look, I think it's difficult to know exactly what's being played in the boardroom at this level between Cook and Volandis and both advisors. But I think I'm imagining, well, we know the NRL have a desire to bring Perth into the competition, or a Perth-based team, Perth Bears, into the competition. And you've got to imagine that the Perth government would have an appetite to have another sporting franchise, NRL, into like, and ignore the conversation of one of our rival codes that would be lobbying against that, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, Bedell broke the story that it would be the Perth Bears during Roger Cook's election push, like while he was on his campaign trail, and one of his election promises was the Perth Bears. So he's in a position now where he kind of has to get it done.
Politicians never lie, Charlie.
No, but you break a promise like that, people aren't going to like it, especially the footy fans.
They're not going to overthrow the government.
They've got 4 years.
Anarchy,
in
like
4 years they can. But yeah, I don't know. I think 19 teams is too many anyway. I don't know. Like Perth, if it comes off great, yeah, good, you got a Perth team. But I reckon it should have been Perth or PNG, not both.
Not both.
Yeah.
It's going to be... Look, I guess they would have looked into this. Is there enough talent to fill an 18th and a 19th team in such short time space? I guess we're going to figure that out. But the Dolphins didn't. We thought that would be the issue with the Dolphins. That was incorrect. So with Perth and PNG, I mean...
Were we incorrect though about the Dolphins? Let's think. Like, yeah, they had a couple of good years where they did well with Wayne Bennett, and they bought for those 2 years. But now where are they going?
Well, we know they're
sitting last coming into the weekend, or second last.
We know they are currently, but I think they've still got a very exciting roster on paper.
Competitive, but it's probably not a finals roster, is it?
Yeah, but is that what you're aiming for in year?
Well, they've won one win out of the first 5 games.
Are you aiming for? Like, you got to understand, most new franchise teams, okay, the ice hockey NHL bought in that team in Vegas that I think got to their Stanley Cup final in year 1. But most new franchise teams is a reality there that it's going to take time for them to become established. And in a 17-team competition, only 8 teams can play finals.
I will say, though, it's not good for the Dolphins, though, that they are struggling now as a new franchise. Like, you need to do well early. Like, what if Melbourne won the comp their first year?
I don't know. It's just a theory. No, they made the grand final.
Yeah.
They lost to the Dragons, I think. Or
they beat the Dragons.
They won. They won. Yeah, they won on the
second year when the
Lazarus doing
No, they beat the Dragons. Yeah, but
things were very different back then.
I think it's different for Perth. I think they've got a great opportunity because I feel like the whole Melbourne connection is going to be in Perth because no one's got family in Perth. No one's got, you're going to build a great relationship with your teammates. You're probably all going to live around the same area. You're not going to get noticed going to the pub. Like you know what I mean? All those things that make Melbourne so great. Perth can build on that.
Yeah.
And I think if they were to get a team coming from Melbourne, you find like the success stories, the players like Robbie Kearns, Danny Williams, I wouldn't say, but like those leaders that build a great culture there, that build a connection that's like, everyone wants us to fail in this state. Like everyone wanted us to fail. We're living in the AFL state. It's the same with Perth. Like, so let's go prove them wrong, and Perth have a great opportunity to do that. So I think it's an interesting.
It's really interesting, actually. Listen, you talk about it on the backstage how like difference in playing Sydney and Melbourne. Melbourne, you guys are all mates because you're all moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Whereas in Sydney, everyone hangs out with if you grow up in Sydney, hangs out with your mates that you had growing up. So it's different. It's so different.
It's very, very different. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what the deadline is, because to come in 27, you should be in the market for players now.
Yeah, but do you think 55 million's enough? I think when Redcliffe did their proposal, they were like 100 million, weren't they?
Yeah, and commercially they were so viable straight away.
They're like probably one of the best clubs.
They are, from a commercial standpoint, they are
in
the
NRL now.
Yeah, they are the best.
I remember when I was signing with them, they went through all of that with me. I was like, man, fuck about your commercial team.
Yeah.
How much am I getting? Nah.
And what does this mean for third party deals?
Sorry, Cheese. Just speaking of Melbourne, you and I have often spoken about the potential for a 2040 and some gaps that appear in the game. So I was watching Melbourne on the weekend against Manly, and Tony, if you just put these stills up to those that are you watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast, let me try and explain this. So Manly are kicking off to the Melbourne Storm. So Melbourne Storm receiving. There's one in particular where the Melbourne Storm don't have a player on the 40 or would be 10 metres away from the kick, but they push back. Their front line is all the way back to the 30. Like, for me, for Cherry Evans or somebody at Manly not to see that, to try and execute a short kick, either just a grubber to yourself or drill to the sideline, there's so much space the way Melbourne line up to receive a kickoff. And it happened on a number of occasions. There's another one, it wasn't quite as bad. I think Harry Grant's...
But it was one side was up.
On about the 35-ish, but everybody else is back. There's so much room to play with.
It's weird for me, like, for DCE not to pick that up, because that bloody bastard, he's got me twice. So the hooker usually stand. He's done me twice, because the Roosters, I won't give it away, but they used to have like just one up the front.
Yeah.
And they put the lock back. So Melbourne has the lock and the hooker.
Yeah, so there's four on that front line.
So there's only three on the front line at Roosters. And mate, I'm sitting in the middle. I sort of have to like back which side he's going to kick to as he's kicking. And he sort of like convinced me that he was kicking this way, and then did a short grubber to the left, and I missed it. Got sprayed for it, bloody hell. So like, mate, you're leaving me out there with 40 metres either way. Yeah. Well, not 40, but 30 metres either side. But yeah, it's interesting, and I wonder how much this stuff is playing on DCE. I think when I saw him after the game, because I went to the game, GAC sat behind these little wrap bags. Then I got invited to the lounge, halftime, free drinks and stuff. Wasn't allowed any. But yeah, I seen them after the game, like walking around the crowd. You could see like he had a bit of pain, or you know what I mean. It's like, I wonder how much it'll affect his footy over the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But from a Melbourne point of view, like, they don't do things by accident. I can't understand why they would leave themselves open to the... And to be fair, it's not just Melbourne. A few teams do it where they clock off on kickoffs. And maybe it's Melbourne's little bit of cat and mouse. Yeah. And it's a compliment to them. Go on then, do it. And if that's the way you're going to play, we will beat you. If that makes sense. Do you know, like, if you're gonna need that to beat us, we'll beat you. Yeah. But it does seem
they do have an element to that. Yeah. I remember we played against Broncos. Wasn't Suncorp. Can't remember where it was. Played against the Broncos, and we did a kickoff to them. And because we used to tighten the line up really strong, they did a second play kick. Yeah. And it worked. But like the chat at halftime, or the chat during the game was, that's what they're trying to do to beat us. They need a trick play to beat us. Yeah. And then you build off that.
Yeah, but I guess maybe the counter argument to that, or a coaching tactic, would be, let's not revert to this constant gamble style 50-50, look for an opportunity. But when one's there, take it, and then let's get into the grind as well.
Yeah,
because on those stills, I know it's a still and it's very different.
It was perfectly executed. They went like 70 meters.
Yeah, it's just interesting that like I say, it's not just Melbourne. There are a number of teams that leave themselves exposed of kickoffs that I think, opposition, and maybe it's one of those. There's an opposition coach going, "Yeah, we're planning that next week," because you can only do it once. I reckon you can only do a short before they get onto it. So, but it's coming. If Melbourne don't fix that up, it's going to come.
You brought up DCE, Cheese. He's going to play Origin this year, boys. He's putting his hand up for Queensland,
and so he should.
Why not? Unless you want to get some other Samoan halfback to jump in there. Who was Ellie?
Who would be next
Katoa?
in line? No, Katoa's New South Welsh.
Yeah,
He's New South Welshman.
New South Wales.
Who would be? I don't know who'd be the next. Like Sammy Walker, if he was fit, he'd probably be the next in line, or Jamal Fogarty, maybe even. Like they don't have a heap of depth there at the halfback position. There might be someone I forgot. Tommy Dearden could maybe play halfback.
Queensland Spirit, though.
Dearden would probably play 7, but for DCE, for anyone really, like you don't want to. I know that Origin is this intense arena, but it's not one that you want to give up. No way.
No. But just speaking of DCE, Buzz Rothfield called Des Hasler. And Des Hasler, he asked Des Hasler about Daly Cherry-Evans coming to the Titans. And he's never had a conversation moved away from a topic quicker, Buzz Rothfield said.
From Des? You're joking, aren't you? He can...
Yeah, Buzz is good, but...
Mate, I've had many conversations with Des, and look, he can change the topic before you even know it. And
just on Des, mate, he had I've never really watched a post-match interview, but his one was so good how he's like half spraying the refs. Yeah. But at the end, he's like, and I expect I won't get a $5,000 fine because I haven't actually spoken anything bad about the refs.
Mate, they didn't even ask him a question. He just started. He sat down and started his press conference.
He's got some funny mannerisms.
Yeah, he's brilliant to watch.
DC, I was telling you, my whispers are getting stronger.
What are your whispers telling you?
My whispers are getting stronger. Lockie Galvin to Manly.
Ooh,
that's my whispers. And I'm not saying that it's not a guarantee, but I've been hearing too many.
Well, guess
it's not a dust cloud at the moment.
I was going to say, geez, you know what they say.
And mate, the Tigers are a DC away from something special.
You know who manages?
What do you reckon about
Anthony Seibold?
Yep.
No, I don't.
Isaac Moses. And you know who manages Lockie Galvin?
Isaac Moses.
Yeah.
Do you know who doesn't like Isaac Moses? Benji Marshall.
These games. The games within the game.
I've come full journo lately. I was texting Charlie about this. Like, mate, I'm hearing DC's going to the Tigers. I'm hearing Lockie Galvin's going to Manly.
You know what the Titans should do? Get one back on DCE, sign him, and then on the 9th day of the 10-day cooling off period, be like, actually, mate, we changed our mind.
It's very
See ya.
Mate, that's exactly what I thought Wayno was doing.
You should be...
That's exactly what I... Mate, I was reading around my people that, like, I told us, and mate, do you reckon he's fucking going to stitch me up here? And then he waved the cooling off period. So I was like...
But on DCE, Gus Gould was on 100% footy, which was on Tuesday night this week. And he was pretty strong about the Chooks going after him, basically saying it's ridiculous that they are. I'll just pull up the audio because I've got it here.
I sort of said that without saying ridiculous.
You said something very similar, but here we go.
I can't understand why the Roosters are in the conversation with Daly Cherry-Evans. I mean, they've invested heavily in Sam Walker long term as their number 7. So you want to put that on hold for 2 years and play him with Cherry-Evans, play him 6 and play Cherry-Evans. Cherry-Evans is not going there to play 6 and play on the left-hand side of the field. He's going to come there to play 7 if he goes. I don't think he is. I don't think he's even in the frame. I can't understand why the Roosters would be remotely interested in putting that roadblock in the way of Sam Walker's development right now and holding him back for another 2 years while Cherry-Evans takes over the team. The idea of investing in Sam Walker was so that he could be the long-term halfback and learn how to manage and control the team now that senior players have left. I would think so. So you just got to be a bit patient. I think, and that would be a knee-jerk reaction.
That bloody bastard. When was our podcast released?
That was last week. We did
last week.
Yeah.
Before
that, yeah. He's a listener.
Listening to the podcast.
Gus Gould's a big listener.
Did you hear what I said last week?
Yeah,
I said the development of the players for the last 2 years, you're going to be putting it all on hold.
Well, it's funny. Radley was sitting next to him, and in that
I felt so bad.
And Radley was kind of like, you could tell he was agreeing with him, but he couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
And he even tells Radley, "I don't need to comment on this." But you agree, and then moves it on. Yeah.
Oh, look, you've got to love Gus there. I mean, people say like, obviously he's. Has a very significant role at the Bulldogs, and it's funny how influential he is and how he can, impact other people's opinions. I think in argument for the Roosters going after DCE, it gives them the spine of Tedesco, Walker, DCE and Robson.
Stunts the gross of Sand and Smith.
Yeah, I know, but
stunts the growth of Sam Walker as a halfback.
But you know what? You have to sometimes put your ego to the side and say, is this going to make us a better football team, a harder football team to play against? It's not about you, it's about the team.
If you're going to win a premiership, sure. Do you think that makes them win a premiership this year?
I think it puts them in a stronger position to.
30, what would it be, 37 starting next season?
Yeah, he will be, yeah. I think it puts them in a stronger position.
Do you think... Yeah, I can't really comment on that.
Yeah. I guess, you know, if you're in that Roosters recruitment meeting, you're going pros and cons. All right, you know, then they're not stupid. They're not just going, oh, look, we'll bring DC in and that's it. They're going to have to massage some things around Sammy Walker and just talk to him about how this makes us a better team.
I agree with Gus personally. I think he nailed it.
I agree with him too, but like...
So I guess so.
I try to get. Actually, I went for a coffee with Sam this morning. I tried to ask him about it, but he's backhanded it.
He's played the straight
What do
back.
you reckon about DC? Oh yeah, I don't really know. I was like, you don't like it.
Oh dear.
But because their recruitment boss is now gone.
Yes, to the Cowboys.
Zamet.
Yeah.
He's gone to the Cowboys, yeah, for personal reasons.
Virus is his name.
Virus.
I don't know why.
It's funny that he's gone back to the Cowboys because he was at the Cowboys when they lost Kickoff, they lost Ponga, and they lost Cheese. But they brought him back. They obviously liked what he's about.
Yeah. I mean,
He's a good fella. He's a real good fella.
Interesting. But I think, look, Roosters, DC, they bought Cronk in. That maybe upset the apple cart with Mitchell Pearce moving on. But
Cooper Cronk and DCE, same players, same pedigree?
no, they're not. They're not.
Geez, you were firm on that. Well done.
No. But like, if the Roosters, if they can get them at the right price and it works for the team, if Robinson can figure out a way to fit those two in, why wouldn't you?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And yes, it stunts. Again, it's complex decision making is difficult. You don't please everyone all the time. There's got to be trade offs. But you can certainly see how on paper it makes them a stronger looking team.
Some bad news for Parramatta boys. Lomax has broken his foot. That broke today. He's going to be out for 6 weeks. The craziest thing, though, that means he slotted that field goal with a broken foot.
Oh, so it didn't break today.
No.
Nice. Yeah.
News broke today.
Yeah.
Foot broke
Yeah.
Sunday.
Foot broke
Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah.
I've got, mate, there's plenty of players that play through the pain barrier, and Zach obviously clearly one of them. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Well, you messaged just saying it. I thought it was a training ground accident, but no, it happened in the game.
Because remember he was limping towards the end of the game?
Yeah, sort of. But then mate, we spoke to him on Triple M on Sunday, and he was right as rain. He was, yeah.
Big loss though for Parra.
Huge loss for Parra.
Huge
Massive loss for them.
But I enjoyed the Zac Lomax interview, man. He's like, you could see the emotion, the like raw emotion. I miss that feeling of just being able to, like, you know, get that from a footy game and just be so happy or so sad or something like that. You know what I mean? And it just meant so much to him getting that kick against the old club. And yeah. Actually, you know how you said broken foot? You know how some people don't think that breaking a foot and fracturing a foot is the exact same thing?
Yeah, it annoys me so much that people can't get their head around it.
It annoys the shit out of me. Like, someone will say, oh, he fractured his foot. And I was like, oh, he broke his foot. And they'll be like, no, it's just a fracture. It's like,
It's the same thing.
Fucking idiot.
No, I broke my leg and then it was a hairline fracture though.
Yeah.
But then no one understood that I broke my leg. Everyone was like, oh, no, that's a fracture.
You two are going to piss me off here.
Why?
Why? Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Oh, my God.
What?
Are you a break? You can understand the difference between a fracture and a break, do you?
I don't, but
They're the same thing. They are the same thing. Literally,
Okay, all
a
right.
break is just a fracture is the way doctors say it. A break is the way people say
Yeah, but
it.
there's different degrees.
Yeah,
of
it's a
that.
compound fracture.
Mate,
This
you know
brings me
what?
to
If
a
you-
great thing. There's different levels to flus. There's influenza
Yeah,
and
I know.
there's the common cold and flu. If
I'm close to walking
bloody
here. This is-
hypocrite.
Yeah. No.
You're a bloody hypocrite. Shane Webke probably says fracture.
Charlie, for you to be comparing a hairline fracture to like someone that's broke.
but it's
I'm not
still a
comparing
break.
it. It's still a
You just
break.
said
I said it's a
not the
break.
same.
It is the same. It's not a compound fracture. What's it?
Yeah.
Compound fracture is when you see your bone. Hairline fracture is the same.
I know, but it's
a
not like-
break. I broke my leg.
There's also a little bit of like, Beckham. Oh, he's metatarsal. It's like he broke his foot. Get on with it.
Can't get on with it. It's a broken
No,
foot.
not get on with it. But like,
Guess
Guess what, Lomax? You broke your foot. Get on with
I'm
it.
like the medical jargon coming in, but I think
So you don't call you think that a fracture and a break are different? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay, what are you saying?
I'm with you on that, but there are different degrees. Where,
Oh my
like,
God, this-
a hairline fracture.
Yeah.
And not all broken legs are the same.
Well, mate, my grandma thought that because she made me walk on that leg all day when I was 5 years
Good.
old, and I had to walk on that broken
Then
leg
would you
all day.
believe that there's different levels? I just need to know of a flu.
Yeah, but I don't want to know about them.
So would you
because I can, and you know what? I can accept you've got flu or you're ill, and I can just say I accept you broke your leg, you broke your foot. I don't need the detail of which metatarsal break fracture.
Yeah, but like you made fun of Charlie for saying he broke his leg when he had a hairline fracture.
Yeah, because that's just not even a proper break.
It is a break. It is a break.
And the flu is not a proper flu.
A fracture is a break. Just so you can understand it. Take this bit of information with you.
A hairline fracture is not the same as someone that's broke.
A hairline fracture is just it's a break.
Okay.
My leg was never the same since.
If you
I need to stop doing this podcast.
Maybe you should go into coaching because you got a lot of theories lately, all your theories and kickoffs. And
like,
Do you reckon it'd be
I would
less
say like a
stressful?
cracked teapot is a broken teapot,
100% it is.
but it's not broken.
no,
Okay.
it's
It's fractured. It's fractured.
Can we review the round?
Okay, can we? Yeah, we'll move
okay.
on.
Do you want to talk about Hammer going after Origin
Oh.
or not? That he going to play for Samoa?
Well, actually, this obviously issue has come up, and I got on my little website, looked at players that are eligible to play for Samoa. What about this for a team? Right, obviously everyone's got to be fit. Hammer, Toto, Crichton, Mariner, and then you've got anyone from Asako, Ronaldo, Arthurs, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and Taulangi to play on the other wing.
So you could even put RTS in the centres, drop Mariner.
Yeah, you could do, yeah. Dylan Brown at 6, Luai at 7, May, Jazz Tavunga, Haas, Sua,
Is
Nanai,
Dylan Brown
Tina.
Samoa? Sorry to interrupt.
On this website,
Yeah,
I was
right.
looking at, he's
Sorry, it's
eligible to play.
Not very good.
Then the bench of Lenu, Nelson, Danny Levi, Moses Leota. That doesn't include Stefano Utoikamanu, Josh Papali'i, or Leilua from the Dragons, Luciano. Like, that is a gun team. Like, a gun side. Is it probably the weakest position is hooker? But far out, like, that is...
That team could maybe win the World Cup, Jimmy.
It would be one of the favourites to win it. I reckon it would leapfrog. It would be... Mate, that pack is insane. Insane.
It would dominate the less competitive England as well because England aren't as
there we
competitive
go
as they
again.
used to be.
Well, mate, Samoa got to a World Cup final
Yeah.
last time around. But, like, the Origin eligibility stuff, in terms of, like, playing for Australia, that's fundamentally, that's what this is about, isn't it? When we talk about eligibility, it's not about changing who qualifies for New South Wales or Queensland. It's about where you play your international football and whether or not the powers that be are going to come in and say, if you play State of Origin, you have to play for Australia. That's what this is about, which it currently isn't because of the Tier 1, Tier 2 nations. So from that team I mentioned, there's 10 players, and this is just for Samoa. I've not looked into the potential Tongan team. Just for Samoa that have played State of Origin, and then Terrell May, who is in the mix for this year. So those 11 players, do you want to put them in that dilemma of play for New South Wales, Queensland, and Australia, or you don't? I don't see the point in doing that when we're in a position where we want our best players playing State of Origin and we want our best players playing international football. And why do we need to compromise? We've got something that works now.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I actually agree. I think it's important for the international game to keep it. The counter argument to that is, what if the way the NRL keeps going, that number just gets bigger and bigger, that is Origin players, and all of a sudden you've got 30 out of the 34 Origin players not representing Australia? Do you think then that becomes a problem?
Well, like hypothetical. Well, no.
No, you don't?
No, because we are the only, again, rugby league it's a beautiful game that I love, but it's unique in so many ways. And it's unique in one particular way, that we have an interstate competition. No other game that I'm aware of has an interstate competition as well as an international competition that are different and separate. So these create very difficult problems to solve. And it wasn't an issue all that long ago. We had Petro Civoniceva that played for Queensland, but didn't play for Fiji. He played for Australia. Eventually he did. But with now the way the world is changing, with the way populations are changing, with the way, the athletes that play at the top level, why would you put them in this predicament? Because also fundamentally what athletes want to do, they talk about heritage, they talk about representation of their forefathers and their and whatnot, and playing for a state or playing for a country. What they want to do is they want to play in the best competition. And it appears that State of Origin is the best competition. It's above international football, in my opinion. So why would you take away? Because it's going to be very difficult to ask a player not to play for Samoa if they want to play State of Origin. And why would we put just those 10, 11 players from just Samoa in that predicament? Like, just let's keep it as it is. But obviously, this tiered nation thing, like, that's
it's interesting because, like, now there's about 6 players from Queensland that are probably going to play for Samoa. There's probably 6 from New South Wales. But I feel like the powers at the top, if they don't allow it to happen anymore, you're kind of force arming these players to play for Australia, and that's not fair for the international game. So if you stop that, like Tino, if he goes, you're not going to play Origin if you play for Samoa, you're basically saying, if you don't play for us, like for Australia, you're not playing Origin. And it's like, that's not fair on Tino, and it's not really fair on any other team, I don't think.
Yeah. And I don't think fans care that much. If they're representing Queensland and representing Australia, like if you're a Queensland supporter, you want to see Tino play for you way more than you care about seeing him play for Australia.
You're probably right there, Charlie. As sad as that is, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Did you see Michael Shemus' thing?
I did. I thought it was great. He nailed it.
That.
He nailed it.
I'll need to watch it. The one thing that maybe we should stop doing is allowing people to play for 2 countries.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, I think once you've made, and it would never happen and I know rugby league's again different, and we've got to look, and the reason they allow that is to help these these, I guess, not lesser nations, but less competitive nations historically. But I'm not that big on seeing players represent 2 countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, someone could make a case for it, but personally, I find that difficult.
Do you have any other nationality?
Not that I'm aware of.
Scottish.
Do you see that? That's what might be where it differs.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That might be where.
Because if you were half Pommy, half Aussie, you've got a connection to Australians. Like, say your mother was Australian, your father was Pommy. Like, who are you going to choose?
Yeah,
do you love your mother more than your father? Like,
well, you got to pick one though. At the end of the day, you got to make a call.
Exactly, but they made a call and then they changed it.
Most of the federations don't allow the changing of the
like Dylan Brown he played for New Zealand. Like already, I agree with you. I don't think it's silly that he can go play for Samoa. Same with what Fanua Blake did as well. Didn't he play for New Zealand and went play for Tonga?
You can't play for New Zealand and then play for Australia. You can't play for Australia and then for England. You gotta make this is where that tiered thing is a little bit strange. And really, if you look at strongest teams on paper, you can't tell me that Australia, New Zealand, England, Samoa, and Tonga are all up like relatively equal. Like you can't tier.
You'd
But then the
argue on
tier-
paper with that Samoa team that they're the number one. Like,
yeah.
But
The tier isn't about the ability of the 17. It's about the pathways and things
Yeah,
like that.
well-
That's what the tiers actually.
Yeah.
That's a key part about the tiers.
Yeah.
So it's
They
not
will-
about the 17 on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the pathways, what do you mean? Every team and every player in Samoa is on the same pathway as I am or as someone else is.
Yeah, but it counts then. Does that count for the Australian pathway system? Because you're playing in the Australian competition. I don't know. It doesn't count. There's got to be certain setups back in Samoa that have
How
to.
many
they-
players have playing for Samoa are from Samoa?
Well, not.
There's probably
not-
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, that's why they cannot consider the tier one nation. But yeah, it's probably
the
something that needs
Landys
to get
have
looked
spoken
at.
it and said we're not going to change anything. So
Yeah, I think
and-
it's the right decision.
yeah, and in terms of like players changing eligibility, it affected New Zealand in that 2017 World Cup. The only Australian-based player was Andrew Fafita, so it kind of got a little bit under the radar. Last year's State of Origin, Luai, Crichton, they played for New South Wales, but they'd already said they were playing for Samoa, so it wasn't an issue. I think where it's come to a light because Payne Haas, Tino, the best two middles in the competition, already played for Australia, will play State of Origin, but it's now the debate about who they will play for in terms of which country they will represent at the next World Cup. That's why it's become an issue.
Who's their third? Team A.
Terrell
May,
May, Taylor
yeah.
May, and then Tyrone May.
No, Terrell May will be the third ruckman of that starting front row.
Sam, if he can get in,
He's getting in.
well, I know, but if he has a form slip, then Lenu's there, Nelson Sofa-Solomona, Moses Liotta,
Nelson's
Stefano
Kiwi,
Utoikamanu.
Is Tino Samoa as well? Tino?
Tino's one of the
Yeah.
guys that is.
Yeah.
They're talking because he's.
What do you mean? What?
Yeah,
Have you
Have you been listening?
That's a brain play. That was a.
Yeah, well, I thought you said which of the three May brothers, and I was like,
No. It's just who's the third rucky that'll be stuck. Mate, don't mention Nelson. Don't take him away from us, Kiwi.
Well, he's eligible.
Oh yeah, he's eligible, but
is he a Kiwi through and through?
Guess
I don't know if he's a Kiwi through and through, but I feel like he knows where his bread buttered. All right.
It's gonna be good. The next World Cup will be good because it's going to be here as well. It'll be massive next year. Next year.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Next year.
Yeah, correct.
Let's preview the round then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thursday, Dolphins, Panthers. Blaze Talangi is in at the 5'8" spot, boys. Finally, he's getting his chance.
Yeah, well, they needed to shake things up. It's more of a defensive issue for me at the Panthers. Obviously, the attack can help with the defense side of the game, but it's been strange to watch. Like especially them get burst open through the middle against the Cowboys a couple of times on the weekend. That was strange.
Yeah, well, I think there was always going to be that adjustment period losing Fisher Harris, Jerome Luai. Like those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will never back against Penrith. I'll be honest with you.
Dolphins after their first win, but yeah, you've got to. We keep waiting for Penrith to hit their straps. Hopefully for them, it's this week.
You both got the Panthers in,
Yeah.
both here. Cool. Dragons, Titans, Friday night. Same 17 for the Dragons that lost to the Parramatta Eels. Titans coming off a poor performance as well. It's a tough game, this one, Jimmy.
It is, isn't it? Like I think the Dragons are difficult to get a read on. They'll be heartbroken with that loss against Para and the Titans. They've got a bigger range in level of performance. The Dragons are like, I kind of know what they're going to look like, and they're going to be a little bit patchy. But the Titans, and they can go patchy within the game. The Dragons, but the Titans can either show up or not show up. Like,
I think that's the tale of both those teams.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I want to go
But
Dragons.
obviously, Dragons were unlucky because they come up against a team that had to win. They were due for a win. Or you can't lose every game.
We nailed it. Honestly, we nailed last week. Eels due for a win,
God.
tick. Dolphins due for a win,
yeah,
tick.
tick.
The only thing
So-
we stuffed up, Dogs due for a loss.
Yeah.
They got the bye this week.
You got the bye.
Yeah, I'll pick them this week.
I'm gonna go Dragons.
It's in the gong this game as well.
I might just
Yeah,
do
a bit
any,
extra
meeny,
travel.
miny, mo.
Yeah, I'll go Dragons.
I'll go Titans. Broncos, Chooks, Chad Townsend dropped.
What's behind that, Cheese? Do you know? Or can you not say?
Well, I don't really know.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It was 0 tries off kicks so far this season, which is strange considering the big athletic outside backs the Roosters have. You think that that'd be where a large chunk of their tries would be coming from those crossfield kicks and those big wingers jumping up and catching those balls. But
I just think we've been kicking to the wrong side more often than not.
I feel a bit sorry for Chad, to be honest, because the Roosters' completion rate is the worst in the competition and by some margin.
So you think that if the kicks, no tries or kicks, is more the territory they've been getting?
Maybe, yeah, they're not getting enough, they're not getting to the end of sets enough as well, which is a direct correlation.
There's talk.
Yeah, but we've been pretty dog shit inside the attacking the line.
Yeah.
I think we were the best attacking team in the comp last year, and kicking to the left is Daniel Tupou, and we haven't done one kick there.
Yeah, probably need a decent 9 to make sure.
Marshal the troops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a decent 7. He'll be back soon, Sammy Walker. But Mark Nwangani Tawase is not in the team because of his battling a calf injury, apparently. If he's fit, we might see Dom Young drop out because there was talk Dom Young was going to get dropped.
Yeah, that's a big call. Obviously, they invested heavily in Dom Young. They've got big raps on Mark Nwangani Tawase, and there's some decent competition for outside backs there. But I'm going to go Broncos. They played each other in round 1. It was a Broncos demolition job. No Lindsay Collins as well. It's a tough night at the office in Brisbane for the Chucks, I think.
You going Chucks, Cheese, obviously?
Yeah, Chucks by 40.
Then we go to the Perth. There's a doubleheader in Perth, perfectly timed with the drama around the Perth Bears. But the Sharks taking on the Seagulls, boys. Alloway's back. Croker's in the reserve, so he might be coming back into the starting line, come back from injury. Another tough game to call.
Yeah, Battle of the Beaches
In
Perth. Yeah.
Which is
Get down to-
shit,
get
I
to-
reckon.
get-
They need those games over at their actual home grounds.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe a slight oversight there.
This is a hard game to pick.
Manly were so bad against Melbourne.
Sharks went much better. Who did Sharks lose to?
They lost
Canberra,
to
last minute.
But they were poor all game, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Sharks to win. That's another trip for the Sharks. They've gone
Vegas,
Vegas back, Townsville back,
Canberra
back, Perth.
They're in the.
You know what? Actually,
switching that real
I'm going to
quick.
switch it around. I'm going to go Manly.
They're in that Bunnies boat. That's what the Bunnies had
Yeah,
last year, where they
yeah.
travelled all over the shop and it cooked them.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of travel early doors. I'm going to go Manly.
I'm going to follow you in there.
Yeah.
All right. Then you go the other game at Perth. The Bunnies taking on the Cowboys. Phil for Lockie Dodd in this one got suspended in New South Wales Cup for a crusher tackle. Lewis Dodd. That's poor fella.
Mate.
Like that's so. You got Mitchell in the halves with Jaden Sullivan.
And if they win, how many weeks suspension did he get for that crusher?
I think just the 1 week. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh mate, he's so unlucky. He will get an opportunity soon, but I guess if Souths win, and Sullivan and Latrell play well.
So Cody's out.
Humphreys is out. Ravalawa was out.
Ravalawa was out.
Murray's out.
Murray's
Cody
out.
Walker's out.
Yeah.
Murray's out.
Campbell Graham's still out.
Yeah.
Like
you and Aiken's back, which he'll do.
He's
a good
lining
job.
up in the centres as well.
Yeah, that's good. I reckon South get this win.
Ruben Cotter's back for the Cowboys as well. He was late scratching last week.
Yeah, South for me.
I'm going Cowboys. Because I want them to beat the Rabbitohs, so when I get there, I'm like a hero.
Do you know what, though? The Rabbitohs, the talk around you maybe doing a mid-season switch, I know it's been all put to bed, but if the Bunnies are flying and the Roosters are really struggling, maybe that could happen and Cheese could be, winning a premiership with the Bunnies come the end of the year. Who knows?
Jeez. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to win a premiership while you're injured all year.
All right, then Saturday night, Parramatta Eels against the Raiders.
Oh, Raiders for me. No Lomax. Raiders just full of belief, full of life.
Yeah.
Hard to see how Para break them down. Like, really hard to see. Like, Raiders, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Raiders as well. I backed against them too many times.
It just has been so tough for Riles. Like, you lose Moses ahead of round 1. Then you just go on this losing streak. Then Dylan Brown leaves, and then you lose the guy who's been your best player for the first 4 or 5 games of the year.
Yeah.
I think he's in a good position to, like, be accepting all this, though. Like, he's got his star players are gone. Like, there was never really that much, I guess, expectation from them to begin with. So.
Then Sunday, boys, speaking of the Eels, former Eels coach, Brad Arthur, his son is making his Knights debut, Matt Arthur. He's a dummy half. He's coming off the bench, which will be great. I've skipped a game, though. Storm Warriors is the first game, Sunday, 2 o'clock.
I was looking at the rundown thinking, you've missed something here,
Storm
Charles.
Warriors, Sunday, 2 o'clock. Warriors coming off the bye. Pappenhausen and Coates are both fit, even though they left the game early against Manly. Who do you like, Jimmy?
Oh, look, I know a lot of the Warriors fans tune in and are quick to pounce on anything I say or even don't say now against the Warriors. They're tracking my Warriors conversations.
It's funny, we should be popular in New Zealand though because of the cheese.
Yeah.
The cheese needs to bring in some more facts about New Zealand. Some interesting things about New Zealand.
To talk to people that live in New Zealand about the facts of their own country.
Yeah.
Look, Warriors fans...
Are goats still big there? Is it sheep? Are sheep still big in New Zealand?
What do you mean?
Like, are sheep still popular? Does everyone love sheep over there?
All the Warriors fans...
We prefer our sheep like babies, though.
Lambs, yeah.
A lot of Warriors fans get stuck into us, saying we've got a vendetta against the Warriors. It's like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Not at all like genuine, you won't big us up.
Yeah.
It's like, I think you're overthinking it, Warriors fans. Charlie's tried to skip over you. They'd be fuming about that. Get stuck into Charlie about skipping over the Warriors. He just assumed we were all going to go to the Storm, which we are.
Yeah, are you going to the Storm?
No, I'm going to the Warriors.
Yeah, nice. What's big
Just
in New
make
Zealand?
Our viewers happy.
What's big in New Zealand these days? Like, they still tour people around like Lord of the Rings sets. Is that where you go there and travel?
Yeah,
and,
Hobbiton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Viaduct.
What else is big in New Zealand?
What's it? Danny Dooley's.
Danny Doolins.
Anything else?
Mr. Rudy's.
Yeah, nice.
No, not much. Not much. But we're a humble breed.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We don't get building statues and stuff like that. Like,
don't need to. Nature takes care of it, doesn't it?
What do you get? Where's Big Ben? Big Ben's in England. Go look at a big fucking clock. Well done. Cool. Nice. Grand Canyon. Go look at a big hole. What else? What do you want?
That'd be great for New Zealand tourism. Don't go and look at all this shit. Yeah. Come here and have a look at nature. Mate, you should get a job for the New Zealand Tourist Board with an attitude like that, cheese.
But you tipped the Warriors, you tipped the Storm. Sunday, then the last game, Knights Tigers. Big one in this one, boys. Brad Arthur's son, Matt Arthur's making his debut. He's a dummy half coming off the bench.
Brad's going to be watching in England on his NRL overseas app.
We probably didn't give the Knights enough credit with how depleted they were against the Dogs on the show on Monday.
Yeah, they were doing it tough on and Saifiti in the warm-up. Then was it Schiller on the set?
Cogger, Hetherington.
Yeah.
What?
They're under the pump massively. Big game, again, a repeat of round 1. I think this is a game for the Tigers to win. Luai, May will show their class.
Cheese, what do you think, mate?
Oh, I think the Tigers will win. I don't really have any idea. But I was just saying, the Bulldogs, to keep a team to 0 in this day and age is amazing. And someone gave me some statistic. The Bulldogs are letting in 11.2 points per game this year, which is better than any of the Penrith Premiership winning sides, who are all number 1 defensive sides.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Some random told me that.
It's good
Some
stuff.
dead set random told me that at the game the other day.
Do you check these facts or you just...
No, I didn't check them. No. But he was so confident.
Yeah.
It sounds true.
Yeah. And you're convincing our listeners they're going to be passing this off and talking about the Bulldogs' defence. But please, out there, if you're listening, check the facts out.
You almost convinced everyone that a fracture's not a break, so let's just...
I've got some questions. The Instagram's actually got some great questions this week. And the first one's from Robert Olami. Who was the worst roommate you've ever had? or roomie on a tour?
I don't think I ever had a bad one. Like, really? I mean, room with all sorts of... They're never really a bad egg. Can't have nothing bad to say about any of my roommates ever.
No. Would they say the same about you?
Probably not.
Because did you room with Sammy Burgess?
Yep.
Is there the story of when was one of you doing something in a mirror while the other one was out and about?
That's a joke. He didn't like it that I needed the TV on to sleep, and then if he turned it off, I'd be like, "Hey, turn that off, turn that back." So, and then sometimes I'd like just really on my earphones play XFM, Ricky Gervais, Carl Pilkington, and Steve Merchant, and it'd be on like one earphone in and one out, and he'd be like, "Mate, like, what are you doing?"
Well, because we shared a hotel room once, and when I came back, I think we were out, but then you went home earlier, and I came back later on, and you were listening to the podcast on the speaker, and I just left it play, so I just fall asleep listening to Carl Pilkington. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I was about over 20 years.
Who was the worst roomie you've ever had?
I do it still.
Listening to stuff.
I put one ear in and listen to whatever. And then if I'm sleeping on the lounge when I'm in trouble, the TV's got to be on. I have to listen to something. I can't. If I go total darkness, the brain goes. Brain goes wild.
Just try and unwind, boys.
Well, the brain goes wild. Yeah, see.
You know what's I do that's kind of stupid is I listen to a podcast while I'm in the shower, but I can't actually hear the podcast. I can never actually hear it, but it's playing there as like a comfort podcast.
I'd take my phone.
That's a strange thing to.
I'd just take it in the shower.
Yeah, but like it's like I rest it like next to the shower. Like if I put it in the shower, I get wet.
But it's waterproof.
Riveting chat this.
The worst roomie. Look, I love my roomies. They're good roomies. I mean, I don't have anything against them. I guess Radley, so I've had a few Radley, hard to room with because he sleeps non-stop. Like if we've got a midday break, it's asleep. And like it's curtains off, dead silence, pitch black. And then he loves a siesta, and then at night he's like an 8:30 sleeper.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, he loves
He tires himself out though, doesn't he?
And then Sandon Smith, he don't brush his teeth in the morning. He doesn't brush his teeth. He went in Vegas. He went 3 days.
That's fucking
no shower either.
Yeah.
No, I'm not having that.
He's a dirty little bastard.
No, I'm not having that.
And Marty Tupau, he moisturizes his whole body from head to toe at the end of your bed. It's quite scary. That's all I had. Can you imagine?
I don't want to.
Is he clothed or is he like got undies on at least?
Do you normally put moisturiser on, Charlie? Just going to put my jacket on, lads, and I'm going to slip a bit of moisturiser on my back.
What are you doing, Uso?
What Marty Tupau was odd in the gym, wasn't he, as well? Was he strange in the gym to work out with?
Very strong.
Very strong,
yeah.
What a strange guy.
Ian.green.3 wants to know, what's your favourite pasta shape?
Ooh.
Shape of pasta.
Do you enjoy a bit of rigatoni? Or there's one that I can't. It's almost like a little.
Like the little cup?
No.
Shell?
No, it's not. It's like a loop like that. So it goes up and then down.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called either.
Yeah.
I have it for my tuna bag.
Yeah.
My favourite pasta is the Pulpa. Big fat. What is it? Pappardelle. Big fat fettuccine slices. I like those ones.
I think penne's are underrated.
Oh,
Penne's got a place in this world.
it says a lot about you.
Yeah, it's underrated.
I just don't like if I've got a pasta. You know, is penne the spirals?
Penne's just the stock standard sort of, that like cylinder one.
Yeah, so like a small version of a rigatoni.
Have you ever?
But I just don't like having it like pick at them. I like being able to just big scoop, big
In you go.
in you go.
Yeah.
Have you ever accidentally bought angel hair instead of spaghetti?
See, I like that as well. See, I like it.
What a trough that is! Like, that is first world problem number one. Oh God, I've bought angel hair, not spaghetti. It's an absolute travesty. Whoever made angel hair is just.
Because like I said, I like the big spoons. I don't like picking. I just mix the angel hairs all through the sauce, and then they all just get clumped together.
They solved the problem that didn't exist. Smaller spaghetti. I mean, it's like...
What come first, but how do you know?
Well, it's like the pancake and the pikelet. It's like you don't need both.
Yeah, you can just call it a smaller pancake.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm making small pancakes.
Yeah.
And a crepe, I'm making thin pancakes.
Yeah.
Linky Pinky 87 wants to know, Paps is back in firing form. Would he be a chance for fullback for New South Wales?
Yep. But I also think Teddy's in some sort of form for a team that's struggling.
Unfortunately for Pappenhausen, he's just in an era of insane fullbacks. Like, I think if Edwards wasn't fit, he'd definitely be in the conversation there.
I don't think it was fit.
For Origin.
No, like how long you got? Not that long, is it?
Edwards, he's back this week, isn't he?
Is he?
I think he's back this
Yeah, he's
week.
back
Yeah,
this
I'm pretty
week,
sure.
yeah.
What?
Pretty sure he
I
got
thought he done a
named.
hip flexor.
No, he's back this week.
I thought he got named. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
if
just-
Edwards is fit and firing.
yeah, he's named. Yeah, he's
If
named.
Edwards is fit and firing.
Yeah, if he's fit and firing.
You don't change that. But if the next cab off the rank, there's Mitchell, Trbojevic, Tedesco back in. Yeah.
I'd have Paps over.
Harley_Bruce, would you rather take a shoulder charge from Olakau'atu or a jab cross from Paul Gallen?
Depends where the shoulder charge is hitting
Yeah.
me.
Wherever it's not in the face.
I guess you just try and brace for impact.
A jab cross, if he hit me in the face, I'd rather that than a shoulder charge from Olakau'atu to the head.
Yeah. But if
Probably die.
Olakau'atu like shoulder charged me when I'm carrying the ball,
Yeah,
I've
I've already had that.
Yeah. Jab cross to the face.
What even is a jab cross?
I think it's a jab and then like a what?
Oh, like jab and then a cross.
Yeah, I guess so. I think
to
it's
be
a
fair,
jab
I don't
and a
think
cross.
Gal would need the cross. I reckon he'd just need the jab, and that'd be snoring. Yeah, no,
One last question then. Josh_Hurst123. Who would be a better value player for a team? A prime James Graham or a prime Brandon Smith?
Jeez.
Better value?
Yeah.
Too expensive on the salary cap. Yeah.
I don't know about value. Yeah,
Dunno.
James Graham.
That's a hard question to answer.
Actually, you know what? Charlie White,
Media manager.
media manager.
Yeah. 50 grand a year.
That wraps us up, eh? Been a great show. Good stuff. Thanks for listening, everyone.